everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, February 25, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, February 26, 2025, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about money. God, Guru, and Self are one. Ramah Maharishi. The Self is the heart, self-luminous. Illumination arises from the heart and reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind. The world is seen with the mind. So you see the world by the referred or reflected light of the self, Ramah Maharishi. The intense desire for God realization is itself the way to it. Love has to spring spontaneously from within. It is in no way amenable to any form of inner or outer force. Love and coercion can never go together. But while love cannot be found on anyone, it can be awakened through love itself. Love is essentially self-communicative. Those who do not have it catch it from those who have it. Those who receive love from others cannot be its recipients without giving a response, which in itself is the nature of love. True love is unconquerable and irresistible. It goes on gathering power and spreading itself until eventually it transforms everyone it touches. Humanity will attain a new mode of being and life through the free and unhampered interplay of pure love from heart to heart. Arya Baba. Why is it so difficult to find God? Because you're looking for something you've never lost. Arya Baba. Knowledge and love of God are ultimately one and the same. There is no difference between pure knowledge and pure love. Sri Ramakrishna. A jar kept in water is full of water inside and outside. Similarly, the soul immersed in God sees the all-pervading spirit within and without. Sri Ramakrishna. The saint is a mirror. Everybody can look into it. It is our face that is distorted, not the mirror. All of us are doing inner work. Inner work can be subtle. As our mind quiets, we begin to listen more to our own inner voice. Learn to trust your own intuitive wisdom about your spiritual practice. You can't buy someone else's judgments about your path. You can't buy a book's judgment. You have to run it through your own intuitive judgment. Maybe you say, what I really need now is to develop a quiet meditative space to quiet my mind more deeply. Or what I really need now is to open my heart. Or what I really need is a fierce teacher. Or what I really need is a lot of loving and gentle support. Or what I really need to do is clean out my psychological stuff a little more before I can go on spiritually. You keep studying yourself, you will begin to feel where you are blocked and where your next turn in the path is. Trust it. Learn how to go. Learn how to trust your inner guide. We all have I guess you could say, a spiritual path of seeing spiritual work as a kind of spiral staircase. We can go very deeply into a practice, and if it starts not to work anymore, we pull back. Sometimes we do a practice for a while and then go back into the world, or we try something else. When we come back to the practice on the next round, you see it from a whole new level. You see it from a different place in your consciousness. Who you are when you come back to it is different. So while a practice is a discipline, it's better to be gentle with yourself and not get too violent, pushing yourself too hard. You feel like you're getting ahead of yourself or starting to burn out, stop for a while and try other forms. Some people will say, I think I ought to meditate. And I say, don't. Other people come and say, oh, thank God I can meditate. It's just a matter of timing. In our minds, we often get ahead of our intuitive readiness in our lives or our being. We tend to overkill with our minds. We think our way into things. Our mind conceives the next level of consciousness before we're really there, or before we're ready to go there. And the result is we're always a little ahead of ourselves in our thoughts. We do not slow down enough to be fully in our being. We're doing things as we think we ought to do them. We're constantly creating new models of ourselves before we're fully here with what is. When we can just slow down and be here now. When you are doing a practice and the practice is not working, you listen intuitively inside and you either hear, if I reinvest in this practice and I come at it from a new perspective, it could come alive in a new way, or I'll do something else for a while and come back to it again later on. You just have to trust however your intuition resonates at that moment. Go slow. Do not figure you're going to get enlightened yesterday. Relax. Just start to tune yourself to the spirit within. Do not make assumptions about how your path will go. You may say, finally, I found my path. Practice that is right for me. But do not assume that practice is what you'll do for the rest of your life. Because the you who found that practice is in the course of doing the practice going to change into somebody else. A practice that was appropriate for you initially may not be useful further down the line. Keep staying open and hearing these delicate shifts, balances, as they go on inside you. There is a value in deepening a practice. You can't just go around digging shallow wells everywhere. You have to dig a deep well so that you get fresh water. That's a good metaphor. But, when you watch people over time, you see that they start out being very eclectic, trying different practices. And then they get drawn into one practice quite deeply. And when they come out the other end, like Ramakrishna, they can do all practices, and they're all the same. It's like a funnel or an hourglass. It all goes in one way through a narrow opening. And at the end, it spreads out. So go gently. Allow yourself to keep trying things on and going into eclecticism until you genuinely feel pulled into a deeper process. Gurdjieff, the Russian philosopher, said that while an alarm clock will wake you up at one moment, and later on you may sleep right through it, you need to keep finding new alarm clocks to awaken yourself. He said you can have something that awakens you out of the deep sleepwalking of your normal walking consciousness that works one moment but not the next. Like if you're reading something, you're reading it one moment, and a moment later you're busy planning your shopping list while you're reading it. And the next moment you've gone completely to sleep. Maharaji once said to us, the mind can travel 1,000,000 miles in the blink of an eye. Buddha said that. Practices are just practices. Practice makes perfect. Once you're perfected, practice is done. You use a boar to cross a river, a boat. But once you're on the other side, it's of no further use. At the level of pure being, there's nothing to do. But at the level of your ego, you want to do something, so do it. There's nothing to do, and yet you have to do it. You have to make the effort to practice, to do sadhana. But you also need to understand that the being who is making the effort never gets enlightened anyway. Understand that your ego who says, oh, I can awaken, is ego that is going to die or disappear or dissolve in the process. Who gets enlightened is not who you think you are, but who you are. Finally, even your trying has to be given up. Good news is that awakening is built into the system. It just takes its own time. I've learned how to pump people up to experience a moment of awakening. Sometimes it's like having a tire with a big leak in it. You pump it all up, and then you turn around a moment later, and greed, lust, and fear have all returned, and it's flat again. You wonder what happened. And then with someone else, you just touch them, and they open. Everything changes in their life, and they never go back. It's crucial to listen more carefully to who people are and where they are in their spiritual evolution. You learn to really honor people and yourself for who we are in the moment, to understand the appropriateness of a practice, that our karma and our awakening are unfolding perfectly. One of the greatest things that happens in relationship with anything or anyone, say your father, say he's approaching death, you may finally allow him to be who he was instead of trying to make him into who you thought he should be. And then he stopped trying to make me into who he thought I should be. And then we became friends. That's who we all are on this path. Spiritual family and friends. It's just one big family. We're all relatives until we realize we're really all the same, and there's only one of us, one loving awareness. And it's a choice. It's a choice. to be one in that love. In these meditations, when you find a comfortable place, you relax into your body. You're as still as a statue, and you focus on your breath rising and falling. And there's a plethora of information that is presented to you across the board. And some of it you may let pass by, and other you bring in. It's the diversity of the meditation and the information that is lent for any of us to embrace whatever it may be that we are drawn to. Ask yourself, how often or can you relax? Just like you're doing now, you're relaxing your body. You're relaxing into your body. You breathe deeply into your heart. You let everything be okay as it is. Be fully relaxed and at ease in this moment. Notice how different you feel. The instant you relax, your heart opens, and the mind automatically stops grasping to overcome its problems. By relaxing, we learn that we can surrender to this life and actually become the solution. We're seeking. Every problem in our life is instantly solved through this divine, all-loving, expansive heart energy within us. It is always available and found through relaxation and surrender. By learning to relax, we learn how to trust life. This practice of a deeper relaxation is how this divine solution will constantly manifest into our life. It's good to know that at the very core of our heart there is always a current of peace and an abundant river of bliss. When you aren't feeling this now, doesn't mean that it's not there. Just means that you haven't yet opened your heart fully to this moment and tamed the wild, chattering, relentless mind completely. The mind with its ego-driven tendencies does not want to ride this gentle river of heart-centered bliss. If the ego fell into the river of bliss, it would die. The ego knows this and feels afraid to totally let go, trust, completely dissolve, and merge with bliss. And yes, it most certainly will die. Yet with every death is also a wondrous rebirth. When the mind thinks too much, the ego believes that it is in charge of everything, and the ego gets stirred up and thinks it's in control of this universe, no matter what happens or doesn't happen in life. It starts demanding for things to be different, and they are. Forgets to ask with kindness for what it wants, and becomes impatient, aggressive, and insensitive. These qualities are how we know that the ego is in the driver's seat, running the show, pretending that it will change. It is in charge. The ego does not want to realize that we are all divine beings that are connected to an infinite source of wisdom, vast cosmic intelligence, and universal love. The ego's job is to create the illusion of separation so we can have the experience of unification with Source. The truth is that your divine infinite nature is permanent and already here inside you now. And this Divinity is always here, always now, and always available, no matter what the ego believes or experiences. And once you choose to be the master of your mind, the ego becomes your faithful servant. And you soon discover this natural river of bliss inside your heart. The silence of the mind allows you to discover this sacred stream within. Only with an infinite amount of patience will the mind stop its controlling, repetitive, chaotic patterns. Only with infinite presence will the mind come to a complete stop. And you become 100% absorbed in the divine source. The opportunity to experience this is found one within every moment. The silence between every breath contains the doorway, and your heart is the key. Choose to begin the process of mastering your mind by redirecting your focus repetitively towards your heart. The more often you place your attention there, the more love, awareness, and energy flows to and from there. And eventually, this awesome chakra center will open, and you'll experience your true spiritual connection to this infinite river of bliss. The simple practice will bring your life much greater joy, wisdom, clarity than any major accomplishment you could have in the physical world. And when we look around, and we have a choice, so we say everything is divine perfection in this very moment. Others would go, wow, what a mess. Everything's a mess. And this world has a natural order and perfection within it. This divinely orchestrated universe is easy to see, feel, and experience when we simply focus our attention in its direction. As you know, what you put your energy on grows stronger. The more you take time to look for the beauty and the perfection around you, the more you'll see, feel, and experience the awesome divine energy that is within all beings and things on this planet. It's only your mind that stops you from perceiving the divine in every experience, being, and thing. The mind tends to complain about things that it perceives as bad or wrong, because these things are not in alignment with its plans and expectations. The mind would like everything to go according to its agenda and can think it is the supreme ruler of its universe. Truly, it has no idea how your whole life is going to look once it is finished. While the mind may grumble and get upset about certain experiences, you can always step back from the mind and see the gift in every perceived negative event. Wherever there is an open mind, there is the possibility of seeing the positive within everything. By looking at any event with humility and a long, deep, quiet curiosity, the perception pendulum inside the mind will swing from negative to positive. With enough childlike innocence and courageous introspection, you'll start to understand, comprehend, that everything happens for a bigger purpose. This reason is not always evident at first, yet each event is always created by an all-loving, intelligent universe that is helping you to live your life's mission all the time. If life were a big, beautiful puzzle, the mind would only be able to perceive one piece of the puzzle and not the entire assembled masterpiece. The conscious mind isn't big enough to understand how all of the pieces of this deeply complex universal puzzle of life all fit synchronistically together. Only when the mind drops can we catch a glimpse of the bigger picture. Only when it is one with the universe, it will truly understand and see this perfection everywhere all the time. This universal grand design is already perfectly in place. All the pieces of this mysterious puzzle are exactly right, even if the mind judges them not to be. The perceived imperfections you see are actually your path to freedom. You see the purpose of the mind is to continually grow, open, learn, and expand to the point that it realizes it is one with this universal mind. The mind creates these misperceptions just so it can one day know that perfection, what perfection truly is, and really appreciate it. We really don't know what love is until we've experienced the loss of love. Everything has its opposite to give us contrast so that we can have many different experiences to learn and grow from. The mind often gets in the way of us seeing and knowing that this perfection is all around us. It believes it is solely responsible for managing our entire world. And that if one little thing is not right, it throws a huge raging fit. It tends to think that it's the general manager of this universe. If your world does not seem perfect to the mind right now, take a giant step back from the mind. This will help you to experience a more universal perspective. And once you get even a tiny glimpse of this awesome divine holographic conscious matrix, the mind will be humbled. Relax a bit and start to see more of the divinity in everything. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out the mouth. Remain still, focused on relaxing into your body and the breath rising and falling. It is time to release any mental, emotional, or physical inner wounds you're holding onto so that you're more open and receptive to the divinity within. For today, redirect your attention towards the most soft, gentle, loving, healing energy you can imagine. Whatever it may be. New puppy, fuzzy blanket, receiving a massage from a divine healing master. Whatever you focus on, let yourself soften and welcome the relaxing, healing vibrations all throughout your body. This gentleness will help you heal in your ways than you know. Imagine a soft healing energy is penetrating you every cell in your body throughout the day today. And notice how your face changes in the mirror when you are focusing on this healing energy. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, February 26, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.